Welcome back to the Rebel's Edge. I'm Jon Najarian, my brother Pete Najarian joining shortly to tell you exactly why the markets are flat to down slightly after a nice recovery. We've got that and a lot more on today's Rebel's Edge. Bang. It's been a struggle, Pete. It's been a struggle.
Technology, maybe.
Yeah, technology is a wonderful thing sometimes, most of the time. And when it's not, it's a pain in the butt. But speaking of butts, Pete, we have a very interesting thing going on here with a noted, I'll say at least liberal is the best way I can say it, liberal Democrat who normally would not be so argumentative against a liberal senator. But indeed, today, David Faber of CNBC went after Elizabeth Warren. And let's take a look and listen, and then Pete and I will comment.
You mentioned Mamdani, and you are in New York, sort of speaking in behalf of him to a certain extent. You know, I wonder, though, often we see this, and this is a local election. New York does not operate in a vacuum. It competes with other cities. And so this idea of somehow raising taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers, who, by the way, I would point out, pay roughly 15% of their income right now between city and state, raising taxes on them will simply drive them away. Shouldn't the focus of a mayor be on delivering services to the constituents of the city and doing that by raising the most revenue as possible without chasing businesses and the high-income taxpayers out of the city? Because they can go to Austin, they can go to Dallas, they can go to Atlanta, they can go to Nashville. This is your issue. It's a national issue, not a local issue.
The issue is affordability. Do you know how many working families are chased out of New York City every day because they can't afford housing, they can't afford groceries, they can't afford child care? What Zoran is saying is, I want people to be able to afford to live in New York City. That's what keeps it a vibrant city. That's what makes people want to live
Nobody
here.
disagrees with that, Senator,
Not
but
when they
raising
leave.
taxes in order to do it?
Oh,
Why is that
goodness.
the answer?
Oh, dear. Are you worried that billionaires are going to go hungry?
No, I'm worried that they're going to leave
No.
and spend their money
They're gonna
elsewhere.
leave.
They've threatened to do
Yeah, they're going to leave,
They
Senator.
have. They've
But-
left.
but here's the thing.
And
You-
Goldman Sachs, when they
you-
create new jobs, they do it in Dallas.
Goldman,
Blackstone
bang.
built a new headquarters. And go on and on.
You want to have a workable city? You want to have a city that's
It's
vibrant?
interesting
You want
that
to have a
David,
city where streets are full, where there are things
he's
for sale
getting after
24
her.
hours a day? Then you need people who can live here and work
Well, we've
here.
got that right now,
Not
by the
people
way.
who
I
have
would
to
point
take
out
an
New
hour
York
and a
is
half in.
is thriving. So right
Well,
now it's doing
people-
pretty well, actually.
I'm glad you think they're doing well, because a lot of people are struggling to pay for housing. A lot of people are struggling to pay for groceries. And I got to tell you, mamas and daddies who are facing $25,000 a year to pay for childcare.
Those
a lot
are
of them
national
end up,
issues. I mean, I
are
know
an
they are the
issue
local
right
state, but you
here
can't.
in New York City.
Yes, but if you deal with them in that way, by what is always your backup,
That's
just
really
tax them
interesting
more,
how he's
they will
thinking.
leave.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's like, oh my God, David Faber got religion. I mean, Pete, I totally give Faber complete credit for this. Not because it's left versus right, but because he's just right. If you drive out all the high tax paying people, you're not going to have anything left in New York. Will New York disappear? No. But if, just like he said about Goldman Sachs, Pete, or just like happened in Chicago with Ken Griffith and Citadel, a guy that you and I sold the company to.
Yeah.
If you drive out the people who make a lot of money in a big city like New York, you put more and more stress, not relief, stress on the rest of those people that live in New York. So, okay, so a few more billionaires leave. Is that the end of the world? No. But if the billionaires are paying a lot of money in taxes and all of a sudden that goes away, Pete, then you're going to have a big problem. And I think that's just right around the corner with what Mamdani's talking about as far as taxing the white people and so forth, increasing taxes on them. It'll drive them out of the city, Pete. It just will.
Yeah, I think that they're just too short-sighted a lot of the time when they're going through the process of trying trying to do what they think is the right thing, but it is not the right thing if you give it good thought. Because the reaction is what actually is going to, push people out pretty quick, I would say. We've already seen it. We've seen that all happen from all sorts of different states, including the state that I live in right now, John. So I totally get what you're saying. The state you live in when you are in the U.S. But Illinois, same thing, right? I mean, it's yeah.
Ken Griffith left. Goldman Sachs hasn't left New York yet, but do you think they're expanding exposure in New York, Pete? Do you think JP Morgan is? Do you think Deutsche Bank or any of the big investment banks are increasing exposure in New York? No, they are pushing down to Florida. They're going to, some of the smaller folks are going down to Tennessee and so forth. And they're definitely going down to Austin and Texas. Anyway, this is just a nightmare for New York City. And New York, if you follow this path, you're going to find yourself in a world of hurt. Just trust me. Does it impact me? No. It'll basically push up prices where I'm betting that real estate goes up. Places like Texas, places like Tennessee, places like Florida. It'll just push those prices up. But New York will have a greater and greater burden foisted upon it. Anyway, so that's our macro for today,
that's
folks.
We'll jump to fantastic now.
All right, fantastic futures. Well, Pete, the fact that we're seeing the market's down about 0.5% at mid-session, and a lot of what I'm looking at, Bitcoin dropped back down below 113,000. So it's right now trading 112,870. That's a place where I'd say watch that level and see whether or not we trade lower or bounce from there.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, John, is watching the volatility. Of course, it's not going to just go in one direction for a period of time unless there's continued things going on out there. And obviously on Friday, we did pop. We got all the way up to 2038 by the time it was all said and done. Yesterday, basically fell all the way back down into the 17s, finished at 17.5. I think what we're looking at once again, John, is are we returning back to that spot where we're sitting in that range, and that range right now, 17, 18. And do we get back into the 20s? We could under the right circumstances. I think we could. We also could get back to the 14s and 15s depending on how things go. And one of the things that really stands out, and it's been standing out for a long time, you and I have talked about this a lot, earnings. I mean, the fact that these earnings, they have crushed it once again, John. And you look at the S&P, and we're basically over 70% now have put out their numbers. How many have beat? Well, closer to 80%. So I would say this, again, is an earnings season that's giving the markets a reason to have a little bit of air still.
Well, let's dive into some of these stocks, Pete, because there's some big ones moving, including BWXT. This one, known as BWX Technologies, is moving up fast. New 52-week high, Pete. The stock has doubled in the past year. It's up 60-some-odd% this year, Pete. They just reported Q2 results. It's a nuclear play, if you will, for both private industry and government. And this one is just getting lots of love, moving higher. When I look at this and I see how many people are now focused in on nuclear, like you and I have been talking about for months, if not years in the past, Pete, we're not just talking about Camco, folks. We're talking about you, and UEC and many of these nuclear plays. Well, take a look at BWX Technologies.
Yep. It's been phenomenal. And I'll give you another name, but then I'm going to jump back into this BWX. But if anybody wants to take a look at Oklo, OKLO, just take a look at what that one's done. I think you're going to be a little bit stunned to see that chart, especially because last year we had unusual option activity going into there back in October and November. The thing took off, but I think it was back in the teens, John. Today it was up over, I think, either 83, 84 bucks a share. I do look at this BWX, unbelievable. When you look at the numbers that they put up, this is another one of these where, and we're talking about it again, earnings, but look at the numbers that they were able to put up. I mean, when you beat your earnings by 29% year over year, and you beat your revenue, John, by another 12% year over year, you're doing something right. You're raising much more capital with the free cash flow that's out there. They also raised the full year guidance, both the earnings and the sales side of it. And as you mentioned, how about the fact that these guys are up 65% year to date? That's an amazing thing that's going on, and the nuclear space is still red hot.
Absolutely it is, and I don't think it slows down, Pete, because you know what, folks? We need nuclear for exactly what Pete said, small modular reactors like OCLO, like nanonuclear, NNE, as well as the big nuclear power plants and so forth, of course, because you know what runs data centers? Power, and a lot of that's going to be nuclear. All right, take a look now, Pete, at Palantir. Speaking of power, it powers higher. And we had unusual activity. Pete and I love to follow when smart money gets in there and buys. And in Palantir, look at that, Pete. Traded through 174 today. The stock is up, I think it's up like 52%, Pete. Not today, but I mean, year to date, the stock is just on fire. You guys want to get some of that, catch some of that lightning in a bottle? Scan that QR code. That'll take you, and you can get our book for free. Just pay shipping and handling. And or look above that where it shows where we saw the unusual activity. When the stock was 140, not when it's 160, not when it's 170, when it's 174. Well, that's a home run, Pete.
Yeah, absolutely it is, John. And, you know, when you look at there's only one negative, because we could go through these numbers and it sounds just like what we talked about with BWX Technologies. So I will say this. So the revenue was up 48% year over year. I mean, these numbers are extraordinary. Oh, by the way, hit $1 billion as well. So not so bad. They raised their guidance. Not so bad. All-time highs. It's up 8% today. It's up 618% in the last year, 618% in the last year. So when you look at the cash, $6 billion, John. When you look at debt, $237 million. And then you look at the free cash flow of, call it $1.3 billion, just to round it out. I would say that everywhere you look is phenomenal. There's only one thing that stands out that's a little bit of a negative that I think you at least have to have the knowledge of. The PE is a 285, the forward PE. That's pretty damn high. That doesn't mean they can't grow into it. And I think that's what a lot of people are basically looking at. But it is stretched, I would say, to some degree. Doesn't mean it has to come down, but that would be the one negative. If you were looking for something, that's it.
Well, let's take a look at HIMS, Pete, HIMS, because for those of you who don't know, they're all about adult health, whether that happens to be ED drugs, whether that happens to be products to help grow hair and so forth, or the GLP-1 drugs to help folks lose weight and avoid some of the issues that are associated with obesity and so forth. HIMS declared their earnings, but they missed, not by a ton, but they missed, Pete, which was a bit of a surprise. And the stock opened down at $53 a share, but it worked its way right back up just in minutes to trade over 63 again very quickly. Now, at mid-session, it's more like 58, 59, let's say, which is down on the day, but still just an incredible bounce back after trading down to 53 to recover $10. I'd say a lot of people were waiting for a dip, and they got it this morning.
They got their opportunity. You're right. And, you know, when you look at the numbers a little bit deeper, John, which you and I always try to do a little bit of that, even though we try to be quick and move from stock to stock. But I will say this. So the earnings, they beat on earnings. They were 17 cents. They were looking for 14 cents. They beat on the earnings. They did miss on the revenue. And that definitely was the part of the reason why people decided to turn and burn and sell it. What if I told you that they're up 73% on revenue year over year? So I don't know. Sometimes I think you do have to dig just a little bit deeper to find some of the numbers that are really out there. So yes, they did miss the expectations, but look at that growth. And I think that's what people are probably going to start looking at a little bit closer, John. They do have some shorts in this one. Maybe some of those shorts got a chance to cover some of it. It's about 30% short interest on this one. Got another great balance sheet here. You look at it, and the only other negative that I see here, John, is this Novo Nordisk partnership that's kind of basically dissolved. That's a bit of an issue. But Hims and Hers, I think, is going to be one of these, just like we're seeing today. it's going to be a little bit volatile, but I think that there's better chance for the upside just based on the fact of just look at those revenue. Are you really going to be ticked off about the miss, or are you going to be pretty excited about the fact that you're up 73% in a year the same quarter? I think that's pretty impressive.
Damn impressive, Pete. Really impressive, I'd say. All right, let's take a look at Axon, AXON. These guys have gone through a couple name changes, but they used to be known as the Taser Company. AXON reported revenue that was up 33%, Pete, to $669 million. Obviously, Taser is a non-lethal way of stopping someone that, for instance, the police or military need to stop without killing them. And perhaps they can use that when the other person that they're going after does not have lethal force in their hands. If they do, they might have to use lethal force against that person. But for all those other situations, Pete, where you just need to subdue somebody, this is a very great alternative. And I guess it doesn't hurt to have police departments just seeking this non-lethal force in big numbers. And that's why the numbers were up 33%, Pete.
Yeah, those numbers are extraordinary. You look at the earnings too, John. 221, they were looking for 146. I'd say that's pretty much a crush of the earnings as well. They also raised the guidance, which is a pretty important thing. Everybody wants to get in there as quick as they can, John. These analysts want to get in there and start changing their price targets because of the fact of how impressive this quarter really was. How about they also have this little section, John, the software services, and they broke that down to the revenue there. That was up 38% year over year. So these numbers are impressive as hell. There's no doubt about it. It's why the stock's up 15% today. They got a great balance sheet. I can't really find anything to poke a hole in and say, you know what? But in this case, I think Axon is absolutely doing an amazing job. And this is one of those where, other than the PE being maybe a little bit stretched again in this particular name, I think this is a name that you'd want to keep somewhere in front of yourself, just because at some point you're going to maybe want to make a move.
Yep. Well, AXON, despite the fact that it's an $800 stock, folks, keep in mind that they do have options. So you have the option of trading an option or a spread instead of putting 1,000 shares of this, Pete, is several homes in America. I mean, the average price of a home, I think, is still around $350,000 or something like that. And so an $800,000 investment in one stock is not what most people would want to do. But a 10 lot of calls would set you back a heck of a lot less, and it controls 1,000 shares of stock. So again, go back to that book. It's not an option. And check that out, because you may indeed find that that would help you become a better investor, help you spread the money around a little bit rather than having too much stacked up in one stock. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's take a look at one of our favorite folks, Pete.
Oh, yeah, he's the best.
Pat McAfee. This was from last year, of course, because we haven't had college football game day this year yet. But we're about to start again, Pete. And this was one of the most interesting and I think joyful moments of last year. Let's take a look and listen.
The way this works is the first 300 people that get here to college game day have an opportunity to get a raffle ticket that is randomly drawn, and whoever it is normally does the kick. Well, Belle Sessions, who got here at 3 a.m. this morning, was the winner. Her ticket was pulled, and you thought to yourself immediately, what, Belle?
I knew I couldn't do it, and he was next to me, and he said that he could, so we're splitting it.
Have you ever kicked a ball before?
I've kicked a ball before. I've played soccer my whole life. I think I can do it.
You make it.
He's got to be the best edition of ESPN.
$200,000 to hurricane relief. $400,000 on the line. Henry, are you ready?
Of course.
Have you ever seen anything about kickers?
I love the sockiness of the
We double it because the Georgia Bulldogs. $800,000 kick right here, Henry. But what I want to let you know is you're not getting a second opportunity.
Did you see him look at Herbie's face? He just oh, how great is that?
It's just great.
That Stanford speed down there, John.
Yep, and Pete, they gave money to hurricane relief. I mean, so it's a great story for that guy and that gal. It's also a great story that they actually cared enough to give them a reward like that.
Yeah.
Basically just on Pat's demand.
Well, because Pat's such a great guy and a generous guy, and he knows he's getting paid as much as he is, John. One other thing that Pat's done that a lot of people don't know about is, so he's ESPN, right? He gets one of the biggest contracts, if not the biggest contracts at ESPN. So it's a major deal that he's got, right? So he goes out there, and all of a sudden they started having to get rid of some of the people behind the scenes. He just said, "The hell with it. I'll pay for their salaries." I mean, that's how good of a guy this guy is. He jumped that up from what, 400,000 to 800,000, and the kid drilled it with all the pressure of that. That was pretty cool. And you got to give Pat all the credit in the world, man. He brings energy. He brings so much to game day. It's phenomenal.
Hey, folks, sorry about that. Little technical difficulties here.
It's going to happen.
If it's the undersea cable or if it's Elon Musk's problem.
Starlink.
Damn Starlink.
That son of a.
But luckily, we're able to listen to Pete give us some good insight into what's going on in sports. So take over, Pete.
All right, John. So we're going to go to the NFL, and I just wanted to throw this out there because so many people, how many people would you say are just absolutely enamored and in love with Patrick Mahomes, right? He is
a lot.
And would you say that 9 out of 10 people would say he's the best quarterback probably in football? Probably something like that. I mean,
I would.
I don't necessarily mean you. I just mean people in general because, he's the face of the NFL. He's this, that, the other. He's won all these Super Bowls. So I'm not taking anything away from Patrick Mahomes at all. I think the guy is special. I think he's great. I think he does a great job with Andy Reid. They've got great players all over the place. But I just wanted to throw this out there because there's a lot of people, John, that judge people in the NFL and they go, well, that guy's really not that good. I don't know why they gave him the big contract they gave him. And I'm referring to Brock Purdy, San Francisco 49ers, Mr. Irrelevant, right? So I just wanted to throw this up there, John, because I don't think a lot of people realize this. In the last 2 seasons, these are what the stats look like, okay? Patrick Mahomes has 53 touchdowns. Brock Purdy has 51. Patrick Mahomes has 25 interceptions. Brock Purdy has 23. Brock Purdy has thrown for 8,144 yards, while Patrick Mahomes has thrown 8,111 yards. So he's outthrown him as far as yardage. Their completion percentage is almost identical, but Brock's is just a couple of fractions higher than him, but 67.6%. Passer rating, he's 104.4. Patrick Mahomes is 93. So when these people talk about, Brock Purdy, I'll add one other thing to it too, John. So Mahomes had a pretty healthy year and his team had a pretty healthy year overall. This is what Purdy didn't have. He had Christian McCaffrey for 4 games last year. 4. The best running back / athlete in the NFL, I think. I mean, because he can do it all. He can throw the ball, he can run the ball, he can pass the ball, he can catch the ball, all that stuff. He's unbelievable. Brandon Ayuk played in 7 games. That's one of their top wide receivers, by the way. Trent Williams, a guy who's kind of important, he's a left tackle, only played in 10 of the 17 games. George Kittle was beat up in multiple games. So I just wanted to frame it because this isn't just like Brock Purdy got lucky or did this or that. When I hear people ripping on this guy or some of these other guys as well, but they say, well, he's not one of the top 10. He's not top 12 even. He's not anything. It's like, really? Well, if you really like Patrick Mahomes, how about these numbers? What do you think about something like this? I think these numbers are actually, when you put enough of them together, John, and they stack up the way they do, I think that stands on itself. We're not just putting up one stat. We're putting up all of these, and you look at it and you say to yourself, well, Brock Purdy must be pretty damn good. Don't you agree?
Oh, yes, I do. And he is pretty damn good, Pete. And they're both inspirational leaders, too. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, it would be a completely different team if you put even a very highly skilled quarterback in there. Not just because of his playmaking, but because the players love him. And they will find a different level, a different gear, because they're playing with him. That's what I think. I think Purdy is the same way. And I think those players love him the same way the players on Kansas City love Patrick. And that's not a put down on either guy, and to be an inspirational leader is what all quarterbacks should aspire to be. And it might have been one of the reasons, Pete, that Shad Sanders didn't go higher in the draft, because quite frankly, Shador seemed in college like he might have been a little selfish, I'll say. It's all about me. It's not about the people around me and so forth, except for maybe Travis, who ended up winning the Heisman Trophy, by the way. But Shador could grow up. I mean, he's a young man still, Pete. Both of them are. Travis is, Shador is. They're both young men. So they have time to grow up and be more adult. But I do think that those two players, Purdy and Mahomes, are great. And the comparison is like this. It's not like this. It's not like, one or the other. It's like they're on a par, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And you led me right into the second one, which stays with the NFL, which is Shad Sanders. It's pretty interesting, John, because Deion wanted to go visit both his kids that are in the NFL now and watch them in their practices, right? So Shiloh's down in Tampa. He got a chance. He went down there. Everything was great. Shador said, no. I don't want you to come here. And I'm not saying he's being cocky. I think I like what he's trying to do, John, which is, hey, look, I got to get a little separation here from dad and be my own man and be the quarterback that I think that I am, who could maybe be the starting quarterback. And there are people out there saying he might be a starting quarterback. Part of the reason, John, they have so many injuries at the quarterback position right now in Cleveland that they just had to bring in Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, so there's another guy. So it's pretty interesting to see where they are right now. And I think it's one of those things when it comes to Deion, he's such a celebrity on top of being a great coach, great football player, and all those things, John. His celebrity status now with the commercials, everything else, it's a bit of a gift and it's a bit of a curse all at once, right? Because if he comes walking out of the field, I would guarantee you one thing, the entire field is looking over at Deion Sanders, and Shador is a second thought. So I think Shador basically was like, hey, love you, Pops, but I don't need you here now. I'm focused and I'm trying to get more reps, and I want to get to be the guy who has an opportunity maybe to be the starter. So I think I'm reading it right. Do you think that's right? Do you think Shador is mature enough that that's how he's looking at it?
I think it's showing a sign of that maturity that we just spoke about, Pete.
Yep.
I think also, and I hope this is true, I think he probably worries about his dad a little bit. I don't hope that he worries about his dad. I don't mean that, but that he considers that his father has had multiple operations because of this blood clotting issue. Mm-hmm. The last thing he really needs is an extra plane ride, right. For him to get up there in, the pressure of the aircraft. Because, folks, if you don't realize it, probably because you don't fly as much as Pete and I do, there's a lot of pressure in the aircraft. Your ears pop for a reason. And when that's going on and you have some blood clotting issues, he might just be thinking, hey, look, I don't want my dad to be more at risk than he is already. Mm-hmm. He should stay out in Colorado. Yes, I realize it's mile high out in Boulder. I was just there. But I think having him focus on his team and recovering and doing what he needs to do as the coach of the Colorado Buffalo, rather than making an appearance, if you will, to support his son, I think is better for both of them, Pete.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you know what? Prayers out there for Deion, because he's got a lot of issues that, are they fully fixed? Hopefully. But it's been a lot, man. It's been a lot. This guy's offseason has not been a fun one. There's no doubt about that. And he's been in a position a couple of times where, it's kind of not so great. So it's great to see that he's out there. It's great to see that he's able to do the things he's able to do. And let's hope he's able to be the coach of Colorado for the entire season and all the rest of it, because that's a combination of stress and, like you said, travel. The team's going to have to travel to the away games. There's no doubt about that. So that's just one more factor.
Yep. And he knows how many times he's going to have to be on the plane to do that. And like I say, to throw in a few extra trips just for, everybody knows he loves his sons, Pete, and his daughter, who played basketball at Colorado. So that's not a question. The issue is that I think maybe he needs to make sure he stays healthy as possible, as long as possible, before he makes
some of these trips that, like I say, do increase pressure on the body.
Sure.
And he's a guy that probably needs to recover more than he needs to put more pressure on himself.
Yep.
But I think his sons will do very well in the NFL, and he'll have plenty of chances to go see him, I hope. All right. Well, folks, thanks for joining us, putting up with the technical difficulty and so forth. We will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time with another Rebel's Edge.